Okay, so let me introduce Mr. Sajid. He is the managing director of Bindwel, the flagship company of our group spanning three business verticals: book binding systems under Bindwel, case and primary packaging under Stelda and Wimco, and digital postpress automation under the Siglog brand. A mechanical engineer from NIT Warangal, he brings over 3 decades of experience across sales, marketing, and engineering led entrepreneurship. Let's welcome Mr. Sajid for his very enlightening session on bookbinding.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Namaste. A lot of energy in this room. A lot of great friends. We have had this journey together for maybe more than 3 decades. Our first customer, Brilliant Printers, is here. Anil is here. Our first customer from New Delhi, Gulati Saab of Saku Printing, now known as Saurabh Printo Pack, is here. Our largest customer, one of the largest customers, Repro, is here. Gobsons, Kaveri Print. I mean, if I forget the names, it's Navneet Printing. So many of our customers are here. So many of our publisher friends are here. So it gives me a lot of. I'm very privileged to be taking this stage, which I think is building towards an ecosystem in digital printing in India. All the credit should go to Tushar for driving this. When he started talking about it, I was not very sure, if we can come together, but I think it's a good gathering to start. So this probably whatever we are talking about has taken me 30 years to prepare. It's learning, and one of the greatest help I had was Suresh, who is our Chief Technology Officer, and is called as a book scientist among the group. He is a consultant to many of the leading book printer exporters and can answer any of your questions regarding bookbinding. We can look at it like a marathon run by offset printing, doing a relay sort of thing, passing on the baton to digital print. You can see. So offset is definitely not dead. How will it evolve as a hybrid thing, cohabiting, coexisting with digital print is the main question. We have heard questions about what is profitable, 50-50, 75-20. Nobody would be able to tell. I think it's also technology which is making the change. Like Ajay said earlier, it was 500 copies, now it is 5,000 copies. So a lot of changes are happening. Nobody doubts about the benefits of, these are the basic things. I heard cost being discussed. I don't know, when we are throwing up these numbers, why should we even talk about cost? I mean, we have talked about cost of warehousing, cost of pulping. As against that, the cost of digital printing is, it's almost free. Offset laid the foundation. Digital is definitely the future. There'll be a lot of discussions on this. I don't know whether I need to stress much on it. There's no inventory, faster to market, access to out-of-print titles. And self-publishing is another genre which is thriving just on shortened digital printing. Every book has 9 lives thanks to digital. Earlier you wanted 1 copy of something, it's not available today. Go and order that. Maybe Repro will print against the order and then send it to someone. So your book is always alive. Now, let's look at the other side of it. I mean, these are some of the comments which I picked up from the actual quotations in the public domain. The paper feels thinner, and I can see the text on the other side of the page. Covers, not much activities on the cover printing as compared to some of the coffee table books and stuff like that you see in the market. There is slight difference between each copy. So these are some of the major comments. And I think on what you see on the top can, to a certain extent, can be negotiated with the publisher or the print buyer saying, give me a little bit more money, I can resolve this. There's not much difficulty in resolving the other thing. And what I've put in below are issues related to planning. I would not call it bookbinding, Like we keep saying in bookbinding, by the time we come into the picture, all the mistakes have already happened. It starts with the planning. I mean, you picked a wrong grain. I've mentioned mousetrap here. You try and open a book, this is still better. There are some books which will not remain open. It comes back. It's like a mouse trap. Tap. So this is happening because you have picked up a wrong paper, wrong grain direction. So everything starts from grain as far as we are concerned. Before we go into some of the problems that we encounter in bookbinding or in digital book production, because binding is very integrated with these things, I would want to emphasize on three things. One is standardization. You can't have so many SKUs running around. I mean, I think there are leading digital printer providers who brought down 1,000+ formats to just 3 formats. I think education, we don't need to have more than 2 or 3 formats, maybe 2 formats and 2 different paper GSMs. But we're trying to make things difficult for ourselves by offering to the print buyer saying, probably he gives you only, or he or she gives you only 3 formats, I can give you 5 formats. Never do that. You need to, digital print has shown the whole world in terms of standardization that, you can have personalization, but standardize. The paper, the formats, these things are to be very important. Fewer SKUs, give the benefit to the publisher. If you give me fewer SKUs, I can deliver it to you faster. Predictable cost, less wastage. So, one of the biggest traps one could get into digital printing is now trying to work with different reel widths, different GSM, different colors of paper. You need to be very careful with that. I mean, the moment you are taking that journey, then it's like a never ending, and you can't come back. I'm sure Ajay can work out probably costings related to each changeover from one reel to or another reel in the case of inkjet printing. There are no pitch stops. Once you have pressed the button, it's going to print and the binding is going to happen. There's no way that you can come back and say that, in plate making I can do this in film, I can do that, nothing. So be very, very careful on how you plan your job. What is the pagination? What are the types of fonts? Have you taken a copy and seen? Probably, you have some font given on your metadata, and then you're printing, you're seeing something else. There are no chance of doing things. And there is no way, when you have this kind of speed, like whatever we are talking about, without a pitch stop, if you don't plan, then it's a disaster waiting to happen. And in digital print, you can't print one sheet or one form and then put it back into binding. The mistake is already done, then to find out where we have gone wrong will be a problem. So it's just, wasting the whole book. So be very careful with that. And when we are talking about, even in bookbinding, we also talk about it, the same language. We also manufacture machines. So earlier days, they used to say, "Arey, 5 kitab karke dekhte, fir wo machine theek ho jaye." Here, the first book has to be right. So the machines have to change, the planning has to change. So everything has to work together on this. I don't know how many of, there are a lot of inkjet printing companies I can see here. This is very important in offset printing, but it's also extremely important in the case of digital printing. You should at least have your paper breathing the environment in which it is going to get printed. So the rule is 12 hours. I don't know how many of us, I don't know, it might have changed, but earlier the Indian papers used to come with a lot of stretch wrap kind of thing, which doesn't allow the moisture to come in. So you need to open it up, keep it near the press at least for 12 hours before it's taken up. Acclimatization, standardization, and planning. These 3 are the most important things to be done before even if you're ready to take your first job. And humidity, the moisture plays a big role. When you are doing inkjet printing, it's going to be dried, and the moment you dry it, the paper loses its moisture, and it's like, if you remember the heat set days when it's dried and then again humidified. So what it says is moisture targets are 4.5 to 5.5 for paper. We have a small booth here. We have, just for your knowledge, kept some basic instruments. We don't sell those instruments. Basic instruments that one should have in a digital print. You should definitely have the atmospheric RH being read. You also should have a moisture reader for your paper. And 4.5 to 5.5 is what is meant for paper. And for your cover, it could be 6 to 8%. These problems never refuse to retire. I mean, except for the fact that you don't have any folding happening. Remaining, most of the problems that you face in offset, you also face here. In a different grade, in a different way, and with a different challenge, saying that you can't even afford to have one copy being wasted. Spine cracks, loose pages, moisture curl. This is the biggest role. Can anybody tell me what this is? I mean, I know you can. What would you call this? The mat. Where do you use it? Now, how does it look like? And how does this look like? You have this given to your team. This is a book. This is the grain direction. This is how I opened. And now you try opening it this way. And you'll see still many books being produced in that fashion. So we give this to anybody who joins our company and say that, first thing, the golden rule is understand grain. If you don't plan your book as per the grain direction, then you are going to have a disaster. A4 landscape is a very difficult thing. In most cases, you will end up with this thing. So you need to have either thread sewing done, which again becomes a problem in the case of digital printing. Then you need to go for a higher quality adhesives like polyurethane reactive hardness. Stiff pages, mousetrap, all these things happen due to ground. And most cases, the failure happens. Even in the case of cover, the cracking happens. So the basic thing to start is plan your pagination, plan your imposition on the basis of grain direction. Don't think about any other stuff. So I hope in one day all of us will say, in our print shop, we don't play with grain. These are other issues which come up. Toner printing is used for covers in most cases. And this has a huge problem when it comes to lamination. Thermal lamination is the only possible way of doing it. And how do you do it in terms of the type of quality of film that you use, the pressure, the speed with which you do, what is the temperature, all those things would, end up giving you, issues. You can have issues like what you saw, cracking and creasing on that book. You can have silvering issues. So cover, that is one of the biggest issues that generally they say that in an offset printing. But these problems happen in offset also. It's not that it doesn't happen in digital. Because when you do only one book, then all your attention is there. So that's why you can't make any mistake in digital. You can't get away with that. One of the biggest issues that we see in perfect binding is something called as, we have a short name for it, is FPLP. It's called as first page, last page. I have some books here. We also have some books down there to show. This can happen due to multitudes of reasons. The grain direction is starting with one. Then you can have the substrate as the cover substrate which is used. Process control, machine health definitely if your creasing or your notching is. And what happens is you open the first page along with, you open the cover along with it, the first page comes and then you will see some notches and stuff like that. And this will be a rejection. And it is very difficult to control unless, going back to my earlier stage, standardize. You should know what cover you are doing, and Vijay is here. You should trouble him when he's there in the afternoon, how many types of cover material they use. They would have reduced it to maybe one or two. I mean, this is my guess. You want to say something, Vijay? Yeah. So the moment you have too many variables given to a printer as options, then you are only going to dig your grave. So never do that as far as digital printing is concerned. Digital printing is not for huge flexibilities. You can say it is for personalization, but unless you start with standardization, the benefits are in terms of whatever we spoke in the first listing. It is not that मैं आपके लिए ये भी कर लूँगा, I will do this also, that also, then it's done. Adhesive, we need to actually test the compatibility of the adhesive along with the paper. If you are using an adhesive which is not meant for that type of paper, let's say coated paper and stuff like that, then will be a problem. Now you see that's a perfect mouse trap, where you open the book and it will be completely vertical. Binding blues are back. I mean, whether it's offset printing or digital printing, there are slight differences in challenges, but if you look at it, most of these problems are repeated here. So we talked about relative humidity. I've heard multiple things about I've kept 70% humidity and it worked and 60%. These are the standards. Now, what works in Indian conditions, this definitely works. And I don't know, I mean, when we have the discussions with the actual printers, we could check up if they are having the printing and the binding in the same kind of relative humidity. It's absolutely important. You can't have something being done in a cold room with a lower RH, and then you come into the rains, and then you have the humidity going up. It creates havoc in binding. And again, golden rule is the planning should have taken care of it. These things are very important, and even one book is important. One book is lost, is one job gone. So when we started business in India, long back in 93 kind of thing, I mean, some of the largest printing hubs used to be Meerut, Mathura kind of markets. So printing would be done by somebody, and it will go to folding at somebody's house, and then it will come back. And in fact, I have seen, I mean, I regret I don't have the picture of a buffalo cart carrying the paper in a folded form from one printing press to the bindery which they used to do. So it's like, it's moving from one place to another place to another place, and it comes back, and the wastages are huge. And even publishers those days used to control by saying, I will buy the paper, you print it, I will buy the paper and give you the cover, you print it, and these two will go to a binder. It was also sort of keeping control on maybe piracy or anything, but those days are gone. I still remember one of the earliest providers for the unit cost was Gobsons. I think Sunilji, Vasant's dad, they were also in the trade of paper. So I think they were one of the first to offer saying that you don't print or anything. Don't ask me for per form of 1,000 kitna karna hai, but I will give you a unit cost for the book. So we migrated to that. Today, many of the binders have gone in backward and then installed their printing setup and pre-press. So everything is in-house. So things are under control. So it was literally a village being involved to print a book. Now, can this happen in short run? That I don't finish the job and then send it out for something else to be done in somewhere else. But it's happening. It is happening. It is still happening. So that's what I'm saying. So some of this, and this is the reason for it is the ecosystem has actually not evolved around it. I know customers. One of the largest consumer of digital print books are coaching classes, educational institutions which run like the Kota ones or the Hyderabad ones and stuff like that. They'll have multiple branches and things like that. They will have the same content. They will not know which class requires so many copies. So they ask the printer to only do the in-house, so the inside pages, bundle it and send it across. At the last moment, based on where it has to go, they themselves will print it. I know a big publisher who used to do. Yeah, the cover will be printed by them, and they'll have our small binder. They'll finish it and send it off. But it's a lot of waste. I mean, it's not happening definitely in micro runs. I mean, In book printing in digital, I would want to call it as book of one, which is a single book model which Repro and Manipal does. I think Repro is mastered that and were pioneers in that. Then you have micro runs, which might be 10 books or 15 books or something like that based on the need. They fall under that. And then you have short runs. But you cannot afford to either the institution have their own printing setup to do it, but if you're only getting the inside printed pages from somewhere, it is traveling through different conditions and it's coming to your place, and you're just putting a cover and sending it out. It's again calling for a lot of wastage. And in short run, you can't afford to have wastage. So you can't have workflows that run into miles, things moving from Noida to Hyderabad, and then the book is getting done there. I've put 3 brands. It's not just us. I was told not to sell the machine here. Give us signatures that are easily handleable. I mean, book blocks, globally, if you look at it, most of the print manufacturers have started giving that option. And one of the first machines that you bought had a gluing option for making book blocks. It's much easier to handle book blocks because it makes your system very fast. You can inline connect it to binders like what we have. Today you're handling loose leaf, moving from your printing machine, going somewhere. I mean, there are some options where it is folded, slightly better. But the final solution is you get a book block with gluing on it. It's not a very high technology because gluing systems from Robotech, Knots, and all those things are being used, and they are here in India also. I mean, you could work with them and then get it done. We just need some space. We will also talk to you in detail about it. It's much easier to handle that. There might be some pros and cons in terms of multiple ups and stuff like that, but then we'll need to see the overall benefits in terms of how do book blocks benefit the whole system. Because if you're carrying a bunch of loose leaves from here even to the binder, even if one page is missed, we don't know. Or else, I mean, we have binders where we can actually do the thickness caliper and say the number of signatures are less. But that's not a solution. I mean, we don't know which page has gone. They're like wedding guests, 1 or 2 will always go missing. We talked about adhesive. We have kept some samples of adhesives below. This is for your understanding. Hot melt adhesives come under different categories. One is what we call as EVA type, which is ethylene vinyl acetate model. It's a very cost effective, and most of the cases you would see that we are using that type of adhesive. It's quick setting. It's good for basic paperbacks. Whatever is being done on offset is majorly on that. Then you come to something called as polyolefin, which is a higher end product within the same family of this thing, but the catalyst used is different. They are much more flexible compared to EVA, and it can be used for high quality books, very coated art paper and stuff like that. It also uses it also helps you in wrong grade. And the best form of adhesion is polyurethane reactive. Which can actually remove the requirement for sewing. Because one of the biggest issue in digital is when you want to do a thread sewn book. Now the first edition books are coming as 1 copy and a few copies. Then you don't have any scope. I mean, you need to have a folded signature for sure to get that and then gather. Then you're going into the halfway offset kind of a method. The solution for that is polyurethane reactive. This is a PUR bound book. We have used a gaussing here instead of, so it gives the same effect as it's a lay flat thing. And this is done on 28 GSM, but you can do it on thicker GSMs also. Yeah, I can pass it around. PUR makes the workflow unclogged. I mean, they have done it for Thomson, Repro, Manipal, all of them have done it for their offset. And wherever you see the workflow getting clogged, it is basically coming into sewing and waiting for things to happen. You would have seen the printing happening and perfect binding happening in between. This is a big... So So I'll just three or four quick checks on what is that you need to be. We already talked about standardize, have planning done properly, and as far as binding is concerned, we need to respect these factors. Grain, don't play around with that. I mean, you can always do things faster and cheaper by picking the wrong grain. A5 books, if I take most of the A5 size books, then I'll see a wrong grain. And the reason for that is the pagination or the imposition is not done the right way. You can do it with the current type of machine. Maybe at a small percentage of loss of your either productivity or paper. Covers, you need to understand the challenges in digital printing are going to be equally bigger in terms of, because covers make all the difference in terms of selling a book. We talked about first page, last page and issues like that. We have seen this happening in 30 years for different reasons. In the earlier days, it was more to do with machines. So we improved the machines and brought it down with it. Now you get covers which we don't understand. I mean, first of all, it is wrong grain. And then there are a lot of coated art cards which come in today. It's not mill coated. It's coated outside. And then you come in and then you try to crease it. You'll see white powder starting to drop. I mean, even before you start creasing it, you should do that 4 crease test. You should bend it once, then open it, bend it once. And 4 times you do, you'll see cracks and some powder falling. If you have a black table, you would actually see there is some powder falling. This is because the coating has been done outside. It's an offline coating. You need to be very careful with these kind of things. The first page, last page, all these kind of issues would happen if you are using a wrong type of cover. Right glue for right run. I would say for digital print, PUR sometimes can be challenging because it takes some time to cure. But there is a grade now available between the regular ethylene vinyl acetate and PUR, which is called as PO grade, which is polyolefin, which reflects a lot of capabilities of PUR. Digital saved the book actually. I mean, today a lot of books which wouldn't have been available to us, it's thanks to digital printing that it's available. Otherwise, nobody would have thought of printing it. Yes, maybe it could have been available as an e-book, but some people still love to read the physical book. So don't let the binding kill it. And this happens, the binding is put in the fault basically because planning was not done the right way. So though I was asked not to sell anything that we do here, this is available free of cost. So I can't call it as selling. This is a program that we run with leading book print exporters from India, whether it's Thomson, Repro. We have a lot of knowledge created over last 3 decades of being in this field, understanding substrates, understanding printing, different types of printing, offset, heat set, web offset versus sheet fed and all that kind of thing. And that expertise has been turned into something to work with printers on a proactive manner, trying to help them develop a quality assurance team. I mean, what is lacking today in India is that the customer or the print buyer does the quality control for you. I mean, they'll send it back, then you realize something has gone wrong. But we don't spend time understanding what can go wrong. Can we do something about it? Can we communicate with the customer? And then it can't be that, just pray that, oh, that book doesn't come back. I mean, the problem has already happened. And it happens mostly in the cases of planning, no clear communications with the customers. We need to build quality assurance within the team. If it's a small setup, printing is not an easy job. The owner needs to know it. If it's a large setup, they'll have people who can be trained, and we help do this training. We have a lot of material, you can always approach us on any of the bookbinding problem that has happened, irrespective of the machines and things like that. We don't even ask you those questions. We basically help you understand why this problem has happened, and then do the control on it. So we have a website where you can go and then send us I'll just you just play that video? Volume.
Industry is churning towards the short run books now, because more and more editions are coming which are customized to every institution or every school. They want their own customized edition. So publishers, they are, they have got a need of making the books as per the needs of their customers. So they are reducing their print runs. Like first they used to print more than 10,000 print run. Now they're reducing it to hundreds, maybe 500, 400 as per the students. And the other thing is the number of courses that have come up, the number of entrance exams that have come up. So they are all short batches. As I told you, the short run books recently started. So when we thought of doing short run books, this binder was essential. Again, the same thing, Bindwel was there, so the trust is there, so we straight away bought that machine. That's again a very good machine, I would say. I would say no nonsense machine, simple machine. We don't need a very trained people for that. You get good production. It gives a very good quality, very good adjustments are there. Changeover time is very, very less. So that's again a fantastic machine. I would say that anybody looking for upgradation or entering into the binding area, they should go with Bindwel. Bindwel is a good trusted company and having good products with a very good after sales service and cost effective machines, and their machines are workhorse. So
Questions?